Hi, this is Ron. Welcome to my workbench. Today, we're going to finish up our project on the coal truck. I'm going to show you how I painted it and how we assembled and go over just a little bit of detail that we're going to put on at the end. So let's get started. So, to recap, in the last episode, we prepped our coal truck casting to get ready for painting and assembly. I began to paint the tires first, but I really did not like the way the casting was taking the black paint. So the first thing I did was to spray the entire casting with this flat red Rust-Oleum primer. Now, the reason I chose this color red as my base color was to simulate the red dust that naturally occurs in northeastern Pennsylvania, which is the area that I'm now modeling. Modeling the anthracite coal fields. So if you've ever traveled up that way, you will notice that the roads do not have a black color to them. They have a slight red tinge that happens because of the clay in the soil. You'll see that you get this red dust on the side of the road and the road itself. So by using that color as my base, I was able to simulate later on that red dust. Now, once the primer had dried, I took some silver gray paint and I went over the wheel hubs and the windows to simulate silver. The problem with the casting is you have a solid piece, so you really could not get an actual window. I guess if I really wanted to, I could have drilled that whole area out and reamed it out and then put in some windows. So, as I said previously, I took a very small brush and went over the wheel hubs, the windows, I did the headlights, and the chrome on the hood. Now, in the last video, part one of this series, I had mentioned that the coal trucks that I remembered from my youth back in the late 60s, early 70s were red colored and sometimes orange. I went looking for an example of them on the internet and I really couldn't find a good picture of it. So I did a little searching and I came up with this photo. So I used that photo as inspiration on how I was going to paint and finish the model. So once I was satisfied with the paint on the cab, I started working on the coal load and the dump body. If you're looking at this photo of the coal load, those are not white patches that you're seeing there. That is actually a shine and reflection off of the light, which I was actually going for when I painted the coal. I did not paint that flat black. That's actually a gloss black that I mixed in a little flat with it to get the right color of the coal. With it shining when the light hits it, it really comes close to matching the actual color of anthracite coal. Bituminous coal is like a flat black. Anthracite coal glistens and gleams. hence the name, the Black Diamonds. So I thought I did a very good job on getting the coal load correct. The dump body itself, I used a mixture of brick red and some burnt umber, and I also mixed in a little bit of green. I got that tip from Jason Jens. If you look at a color wheel, if you want to tone down a color, rather than mixing black or white in it to highlight it, look at its opposite color on a color wheel and add that color to it. So by adding a little bit of green in with the red and the burnt umber, I came up with a very nice faded red, rusted color for the dump body. So once I was done painting all the individual pieces of the model, came time for assembly. I ended up using just a straight up super glue to put all the parts together. I did end up having to sand the paint off of all the areas where I was going to apply the glue. So I'll go over this again in the takeaways. I probably would have been better off assembling the cab and the frame first, and then painted them as one piece. But live and learn. So that's something you can take away with this if you're when you go to build this model, if you so choose to. Ooh, there's a saying, so choose to. Hey, that alone was worth the price of admission to this video. All right, so let's finish up on the coal truck. Just got one little bit of detail I'd like to do, and that's the headlights. You can see they came out a little dark, so we're going to touch them up with a little bit of silver gray paint, and when we're done with that, we're going to try and make them pop a little bit. Here I'm trying to show you the detail that we added to the casting, where we took the knife and highlighted over the springs. And here is the gray that I'm going to use for the headlights. So we're going to take a little toothpick and we're just going to dab a little bit of paint over the headlight casting and make that pop out a little more. So we've got a little bit of paint on the end of the toothpick, and we're dabbing it onto the headlight casting. This scene is dedicated to Model Railer because he told me to keep it in the crosshairs for my shots, and you can see I missed a little bit. But right there we have the gray on top of the headlight castings. So the next thing we're going to do is, I had planned originally to use some canopy glue to just go over the top and create a lens over the top of the headlight. But I decided to go with some weld bond because the weld bond will not pick up the paint. If I put the canopy glue on, it won't stick and the paint will actually lift up. So we're just going to repeat exactly what we did with the headlights. We're going to take a little dab of the canopy glue and we're just going to dab it over the headlights. And then once this dries, we should get a lens effect over the top. So you can see the weld bond that I put over the headlights. You can see how I clouded it right now. As the weld bond dries, that will clear. Now it's going to take a good bit of time for the weld bond to completely clear. Probably almost about a week. So we're going to hold off and wait for that. And I got to say, for my first truck castings, I did all right. Got some takeaways on it that we will go over in a little bit, but I'm pleased. It represents what I wanted it to represent: an ancient, beat up, hammered coal truck, modeling early 70s. So this works fine for exactly what I wanted to do. You can see, hang on, let me get back in the picture here. Right here, you can see a little bit of some castings that I could have cleaned up just a hair better, but I'm not going to complain. It's good. So it's not the main focus of the model, but it'll work. And so there you have it. Hey. So to wrap things up, I had a lot of fun building the model. Hope you enjoyed following along while I did it. A couple of the takeaways is definitely I should have glued the chassis and the cab together first before painting. Other thing I've learned was I need to get some either even finer paintbrushes than what I have. I need to get some of those very micro brushes that they sell to do the fine detail parts. Would have been a lot easier. As far as the paint goes, yes, I know that up close you can see a lot of imperfections in the casting itself. What I would do next time is probably paint it with an automotive paint, and then wet sand in between to even get the finish a lot finer. But overall, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed following along with me. So thanks for stopping by my workbench. Appreciate you stopping by. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and please ring the bell so that you will be notified the next time I post another video. If you like the show, please tell your friends about it and invite them over. So that's it for now, and we'll see you later. On the next episode of Ron's Workbench, I'm going to show you how we took this and turned it into this. On the next Ron's Workbench.